All right. Hey, Dana girl.
Hey, Melissa, how's it going? I'm so happy to be here.
I know. This is really exciting because it's our first podcast.
Yay!
And I want to talk about some really, really important things.
Absolutely.
Mostly about like vocal health and blah, blah, blah. But, as Resonate, we hold a bunch of types of things, including music lessons. And so I want to talk to you about like who should be taking music lessons and why just stuff online is not going to be enough.
Okay. Who should take music lessons? If you have a passion for music, and if you want to use that passion to perform by yourself or even perform with others, if you see yourself in a space of singing, of worshiping, sometimes at church, if you see yourself in any kind of space or singing capacity and you want to get more confidence in your voice, you want to know what you're doing, if you want to not damage your voice, then music lessons, singing lessons, vocal lessons, however you want to say it, are for you.
Yeah, so basically a person who wants to get more information, someone who maybe wants to prepare for a specific event, someone who already has like a gift but wants to like get more, grow more, enhance their potential, something like that. Yeah, I love that. So both of us, we are vocal coaches.
Yes.
We also teach piano. We also are worship leaders, and so we get to be on stage a lot and get to do things. But this is something that has come up. I can just watch it on YouTube. I can learn it on YouTube. And so I have piano students who have learned on YouTube. I have vocal students who love to do vocal exercises on YouTube. But why do you think that's not enough? And like, what are the benefits of being like one-on-one with somebody?
Well, absolutely. So there are some pros and cons, right? So let's talk about the pros first.
Okay.
The pros are you can learn at your own pace.
True.
Right? But a con is that specific video may not be what your voice needs. And so it's very important to connect with a teacher who can tell you, okay, this is your voice part. You're a soprano, you're an alto, you're a tenor. And they can give you music or songs or even vocal exercises that are tailored for your voice.
Yeah. Something that comes to mind is like, you're also not getting feedback.
Absolutely.
So maybe you think you are doing what the video has told you to do, but you don't have anyone to say like, I see tension here. I hear that you're not doing this. That direct feedback, immediate feedback is really what provides transformation in your voice.
Absolutely. And a lot of people don't practice in the mirror. So you can't see what you're doing. You don't know if your mouth is open wide enough. You don't know if your breath that you're taking is big enough. You don't know if even something in your body may be stopping something that needs to be done in your voice.
Exactly, because you're looking at the screen.
Because you're just looking at the screen, exactly.
Yeah, but what I want to go into a little deeper is like the psychology of singing. When you were talking about confidence, boosting your confidence. People get into lessons to boost their confidence. There's people who can sing, but the moment they step on a stage, they're terrified.
Totally.
When you're doing something online, you're still by yourself. You're still by yourself. You're not even in front of one person at that point. Here at Resonate, we always provide options of recitals, minimum twice a year. But even if you never step on a stage for the recital, you sung in front of us.
Yes.
Right?
And that practice in front of people is so, so, so important. It's like a muscle. And the more you work that muscle, the stronger it will get. So, you may start out being a little nervous and being scared and being shy. And all of that is good, actually, because it tells you, okay, what will I do? How will I combat this nervousness? What will I do to get rid of this, and sometimes it doesn't go away. I still get nervous.
Yes.
I still get nervous, but I have things that I do to try to calm myself down. I have mindful activities that I do. And so, Yeah, would you want to expound more on
Yeah,
that?
I remember I used to be so nervous. My knee would be shaking. I'm
Oh
like,
my
man, this knee
goodness.
is just like, and my throat would be so quivery, and like it would seem like my voice would kind of just shut off.
Mm-hmm.
I think repetition, getting those reps on the stage, opportunities to perform is definitely something that increases your bravery,
Yeah,
because
definitely.
public speaking, public singing is the top fear, like standing before people. It's scary.
Yeah, it
And
is.
so we're gonna get you there. We're gonna get you there. So I know you said some mindfulness things. For me, I always tell the students to find that focal point. You
Mm-hmm.
stay there. Don't worry about everything else. Do what we've practiced. And if we practice enough times, no matter how nervous you are, you at least can go, if you go blank a little bit, you at least know what you're supposed to do. You don't have to overthink, because it's a habit now. We formed good habits.
Absolutely. And good habits and practice, practicing with good habits is so important for a performance. How do you practice for a performance?
Practice. We're talking about practice.
Practice?
Okay, listen, practice is my favorite thing. It's so funny. People will be like, oh, you're just so talented. You were just born like that. And I remember this woman at this church told me one day she just woke up and started playing the piano. She knew how to play. She did not tell me that she practiced to get there.
Mm-mm.
And so I had this amazing, magical thought that I would just get good from a thought. Cap, bro. Cap. These people were talented because they have sacrificed hours.
Absolutely.
They have put the time in. And I think specifically singers, I think they sleep on how much practice they need to do.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I think there's this belief that if you have a raw talent, that you can just get on stage and you can just do it and it will just happen, right? The magic will happen. But that's not necessarily the key. And what I find is that people who think they're, I will say, like not born with it, they work a little bit harder.
Yes.
And they surpass
Yes.
those people that think, oh, well, I just have this raw talent and I'm not going to practice. I'm just going to get on stage and I'm going to think that everything is going to happen. And you see skill from people who maybe were not born with it.
Right.
Maybe they think they're a little mediocre or they're not as good as the people who are born with it, but they are definitely, they put in the hard work and the time.
Yeah.
And they surpass the people who don't practice.
The key is consistency. It's given tortoise and hare here.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking how some people are just so good and they're so used to things coming easily. They never really built the endurance muscle or the consistency muscle.
Absolutely.
Or the discipline muscle.
That's good.
And so the person who was kind of mediocre, sometimes that can be the blessing because you've learned that, no, if I don't work at it, I'm not going to get better. And so I think that's important because I think I was the kid who could sing and I didn't necessarily work on it until I was older. I didn't realize this is something that needs to be built upon. And when I learned was at the problem where my voice kept going out. I had poor technique, and I'd never practiced. I never warmed up. I didn't know a lot of things. And I think that people have so much access to these types of things now. And here at Resonate, we make it at such an accessible price point, like they can learn what they need to know. I didn't know the things. And that's why I want people to know the things because I think I have some permanent damage vocally from things that I was just doing, like over singing.
Oh, yes.
Not doing proper warm-ups. Just singing from my heart, having bad sound systems in churches,
yes.
And so I think that if we could teach the people those things like good habits, bad habits. And the thing is, when people come to singing lessons, they're actually doing more unlearning than learning most of the time.
Absolutely. What do you think, speaking of habits, is your favorite habit as a vocalist to keep the voice sharp and clean?
So one thing that I do is, like, for instance, I'm driving to a show, is I either lip trill or hum the whole song. If I'm going to a wedding, I'm going to hum it I'm gonna lip trill it because the hums are, I call humming vocal yoga. You know, it's gentle and we're just stretching them out. And then when you do your lip trills of that song, you're waking up your diaphragm and you're getting your breath control, that flow
Oh,
going.
that's really good.
And I
Yeah.
think those are two things specifically, breath control. No, let's just focus there. I think if you can manage your breath control, you got a lot of your singing down.
Absolutely. And that's what I find in most beginner singers is that breath control is so important. And so in our first lesson, those breath control things and those lip trills and those take in the air, hold it,
Yes.
let it out. Those are the first things we're doing because first I have to see how long can you hold your breath and how are you holding your breath? Are you breathing in and it's stopping at your chest and you're just raising your shoulders? Or is the air coming all the way down to the belly? Are you feeling that belly pressure? Are you feeling that pressure in your belly that lets me know that you're singing you're breathing all the way down to your diaphragm and holding it? Is your belly expanding?
Yes. Some people have no clue that when we're talking, you can breathe haphazardly. You know, you're just gonna take a sip of air here, sip of here.
Right.
But with singing, if you want a beautiful phrase, you know, if you don't want the song to be choppy, if you want to build, if you're talking about dynamics, you need to be able to control breath. And the way I know that this is not just something anyone can do, start with young singers, 3 and 4, and see how much breath coordination they don't have.
Absolutely.
And so it's a skill that you have to learn. And so some people, you ever meet someone and they talk like this and they always take a breath in the middle of a sentence like that?
Yes.
That can be a habit. And imagine having to unlearn that to say, I want to complete a continuous phrase without having to take a breath, which means how much breath do I need to take in? Because there's another thing. You can take in too much breath and then you have to expel too much air.
Absolutely.
And so it's this fine artwork. And so I find that when some students start and they're like, why are we breathing and hissing and doing all this? Like, trust the process.
Absolutely. Like I came here to learn how to sing. Breathing is very much a part of singing.
Try to sing without breathing real quick.
Right. Another part I was thinking of is opening your mouth. And a lot of beginner singers are afraid.
Girl, and then this young generation, they think we millennials are crazy for opening our mouths.
And they want to sing like that. Why?
Why?
Open. And so I do make a really big face and make a really little face because it just kind of breaks that ice of I'm too nervous. I don't want to open my mouth. I don't want to look crazy. I don't want to look weird.
Oh my gosh, it's so scary. And because your teacher, eventually you're besties with your teacher, but when you first start, it is so nerve-wracking.
Yes, it is.
And to open your mouth and to reveal the sound that comes out is so vulnerable.
Yes.
It's so scary.
Yes, but I find that like when they finally do it, it's like the gold comes out. It's like, finally.
Do you ever cry in your lessons? Because...
No, I have not cried in my lessons. I have cried during recitals where it is that big moment where all that you've been working on with your student and they finally get it and they finally just shine and it's like, this is what I have been seeing all along. I was trying to get you to see it.
Yes.
Now you finally see it.
I just got chills thinking about it. That's what I live for. Yes. It's so rewarding. I was in the middle of a lesson. It was a virtual lesson, child. This girl in North Carolina. And she finally did it. You know how you work and you work and they finally do the thing. And I was like, she don't even understand. I'm like, girl, I'm just so proud of you because, oh my. And the thing is, I think being a singer is the most vulnerable musician you can be because you can't say, oh man, that's just a bad keyboard or the drums were broken. If your sound is off, it's so much attached to you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And then you kind of have to have a short memory about a bad performance. So now that we're talking about it, how do you deal with bad performances? It wasn't everything that you hoped it could be. You didn't maybe have time to prepare as much, or maybe you were distracted, or maybe, so how do you, what advice would you give to young singers on how to deal with a bad performance?
First of all, it's going to happen, right? No one's perfect. I remember singing "Oh Holy Night," and you know that big note at the end. There's
Ooh.
1,000 people in the audience, and my voice cracked, and I was so
Oh
embarrassed. And it was
man.
so bad that the place that was streaming it cut that part and then went back to the next part because it was just awful. And I didn't sleep for a month.
Oh my
Okay, I didn't
gosh.
eat for weeks. I mean, and I'm telling you, it ate me up. But something about that told me, number one, that one monkey did not stop no show.
Come
Okay.
on.
Nobody's like, oh yeah, you're Melissa, the girl who sung that Christmas song in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
No. First of
No.
all, people are thinking more about themselves than you. Every time. 100% of the time, they're thinking more about themselves than you. Number two, learn from your mistakes. What did I do wrong? I sung that in way too high of a key. Understanding your limitations and your boundaries
That's
as a
good.
singer, and also knowing, did you hydrate? Did you warm up? Come correct. Let
Absolutely.
it be a learning lesson and let it fuel you for the next thing. That's it.
Absolutely. Accountability is what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the piano,
No.
the pianist, it wasn't the drums,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't. Now, sometimes you may need to vocalize your needs to the musicians or maybe the production team.
Right.
I need a little bit more in my ears, or I need my mic to be a little bit louder.
Right.
The band is playing too loud,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be able to advocate for yourself
Right.
so that you don't have those moments. What are some of your favorite ways to advocate for yourself as a vocalist?
Yes, it is so nerve-wracking to find your voice in that space. Number one, remember that singers are just as much as musicians as anyone else on that stage. Don't dim your light as a singer. I think that it's such a key point to say, hey, I can't hear. Hey, this is too loud. Or really communicate those things humbly, kindly, respectfully, but you
Absolutely.
got to put it out there because at the end of the day, as a singer, you're the one most likely to look crazy. Nobody gonna be like, oh, did you notice how
That
loud the
part.
band was? No, they're gonna be like, why is the singer so quiet? Or why is the singer looking like that? So you take yourself seriously and speak up. You have to. We've been teaching our team. Can you hear? I've noticed some people will go a whole song and say, I couldn't hear at the end of the song. Absolutely not.
At the end of the song.
Let me tell you what I did. You were at this recital. We had a 3-year-old
Oh,
drummer. I
yeah.
was waiting for little Noah to play his song, but we noticed that something in the sound wasn't working. And at first, I was like, "Do I interrupt? Do I interrupt?" No, freeze. This is a learning opportunities for these children, and I want them to know it's important to advocate for them to hear to give their best performance. And we
Absolutely.
worked it out with the sound man then and there,
Yes.
respectfully, kindly,
Yes.
but we're gonna get it done. Because we're
Yes.
going to hear that baby. These parents done traveled. They
Okay.
done paid all this money to see their baby play. And
Absolutely.
so I think just being okay with it. And you might even get a little bit of pushback, but it's okay. Know your worth as a singer. And that's the thing, like, know your worth as a
Know
singer.
your worth. Absolutely. Finding your voice as a singer
Mm.
is so important, and that's what I'm passionate about, especially being the owner of Free Voice. That is my goal. That is one of my core things that I'm working on, is teaching singers how to find their individual voice
Yeah.
that God gave them, and how to be confident with the individual voice that God gave them. There's so many singers. You hear that thing, singers come a dime a dozen, right? But God has put you on the earth to do something with your voice that no one else can do, right? How do you find your voice?
Yes. So that's so funny. I feel like a lot of people try to sound like a lot of people.
Yes.
You don't want to be too different or whatever, but I think that there's a reason everyone has their own voice, right? There's a reason. And so I think finding that would be, I think it's kind of tricky because first you start through imitation. You learn by singing these songs that other people have done. But I think the core thing is this. This is what I tell students. Find an artist that you like. There's a reason that you like this artist. Find someone that sounds like you, because sometimes the artist you like is not the person that sounds like you. Find somebody that sounds like you. Then figure out why those songs are good. Start singing those songs. But then take a break from all of that and start doing your own thing. Like music fasts, don't listen to other people's stuff. Do your own thing and learn to listen back. Some people will say, I don't like to hear myself. Professional singers, people who sing, you don't want to hear yourself sing?
Yeah.
Why? Let's talk about that. This is your voice. Learn to love it. This is the only one you got.
Yeah, talk more about that music fest.
Oh,
I do
yeah.
not. I have never done a music
Okay, so look,
fest.
I
This is
used
something I want to do.
I used to call myself a songwriter. I haven't written a song in a minute, but I would make sure that I'm not writing things that I've heard already, because you kind of regurgitate what's you've been taking in. If you just stop for a minute, just listen to your own music and write your own stuff, it's more likely to be unique. And I think if you embrace the differences, people will catch on to that. People are looking for authenticity. The reason why they think singers are a dime a dozen is because everybody's trying to sound like four artists generally. I ain't gonna say the names, but it's this type of singer, that type of singer, and you try to put yourself in one of those things. But what if you just sound like yourself?
So how long do you think you should go on a music fast? Is it like a day? Is it a week? Is it a month?
I think the longest I've done was 5 days, girl. I ain't
Okay,
done
and
doing
you
no
just
month.
didn't listen to anything.
Yeah, no. And I can do that. I can do it.
Ooh, yeah, music is such a part of my daily life and my daily activities. I don't know what I would do if I wasn't listening to music.
You're making the music, girl. You washing the dishes. La da dee, la da da.
Okay. That sounds like something I want to do. That sounds like a challenge.
Maybe everybody can try it a little bit.
Yeah.
Just take a pause from all the noise. And I know that's hard because even social media, music is playing. So,
Yeah, that was really good. I'm definitely going to do a music fast very soon.
Let me know how it goes because I bet you're going to have a new song.
Ooh, yes. This has been so good, Melissa. Thank you so much for inviting me to Resonate.
Come on,
talk about vocal health.
Yes. Next time we should talk about bad habits.
Bad habits. Oh, yes, because there are some bad habits in the vocal community.
Yeah, girl. We only